some are suggesting this could be payback, and the Trade Minister's saying, well, it's no surprise that people are drawing this link, taking a bit of a dig after the Chinese ambassador himself suggested that China could retaliate with an economic boycott. So these 80% tariffs, though, the China and Australia both publicly saying that it's not linked to this pandemic probe, saying it's linked to, it's after an 18-month investigation into allegations Australia dumped barley into the Chinese market against trading rules. It's something the government strenuously denies, and they've provided reams of evidence to defend producers, and they're urging Beijing to reconsider those tariffs.
We've respected that process. We've engaged thoughtfully right throughout that process. Australia has submitted more than 10,000 pages of evidence demonstrating that our barley farmers do nothing other than operate on commercial terms when they engage in the Chinese market, and will continue to prosecute that case strongly.
Tom, senior ministers say Australia won't retaliate by slapping tariffs on Chinese goods, saying they have no interest in a trade war, also increasing their rhetoric around taking this matter to the World Trade Organisation, although that could take years to resolve. And in the meantime, the Agriculture Minister has suggested that farmers should look at other markets to sell their grain.
We will not take our foot off the accelerator in finding other markets. We have already, only in the last week, opened up greater access into India in getting some of their conditions eased to allow easier access into India. We now have a free trade agreement that starts on the 5th of July with Indonesia, and also within the Middle East. Saudi Arabia and Kuwait are also interested. So we'll continue to work with our trading partners, but we'll continue to prosecute our case that Australian barley producers and producers of any commodity here in Australia are not subsidised. We hold that view strongly.
Meanwhile, China has, of course, backed this review of the global response to COVID-19. There's a condition on it, though, at the moment, Eliza.
Yeah, and the Australian government welcoming China's cooperation with a global review after weeks of resistance. More than 110 other countries also seeking answers about how COVID-19 spread from animals to humans and how this virus spread around the world and became so deadly. Now, the Agriculture Minister is saying that the world needs clarity about whether wildlife wet markets are safe to proceed.
And last night, the world agreed with Australia. We led the world some weeks ago, asking the world to investigate wildlife wet markets, to understand that the last 6 pandemics since 1980 have originated from wildlife wet markets, and the only responsible thing to do as a good global citizen is to come together and to work and understand the risks and mitigants of wildlife wet markets.
Tom, that one condition that Beijing is calling for, they say any review should wait until this pandemic is over.